Hi, this is David Armstrong, the executive producer and artistic director here at the Fifth Avenue Theater, with another edition of our Musical Theater Factory. And to give you a little insight into another aspect of our Musical Theater Factory this week, we have our Vice President of Marketing and Communications, Sean Kelly, with me. And we're going to talk about the development of the media campaign. The ad campaign is what you used to call it in the old days, but of course now it's much more of an overall marketing campaign. So Sean, tell us a little bit about how we developed that campaign and what were the issues and the problems along the way.
Well, the first problem was that I had just started, and we needed to create creative for 6 different shows. And Saving Aimee had a previous production at Signature Theater, and they had designed a really beautiful poster, but the poster didn't actually tell us much about the show, and I had listened to the musical recordings and read the script, but still what you're trying to get at is a kind of emotional response from an audience, and I wasn't sure where the show was going to go. The show could have gone in a lot of different directions, and I think it was still relatively early in your view of the show and trying to craft your vision. And so we were kind of in this this blank space, right? Which is a great place to start, but we need to create. So the first thing we did was we actually created this, and what this uses is,
I'm going to take this a little closer to the screen.
Here,
so
just
take the top one.
Just take the top one.
We're very well rehearsed here.
Yes.
There we go. So this is where we started with what was in our season ticket brochure and other materials that started off early on.
Right, and this is a historical image of Aimee, and we were really trying to get at this concept of her as an evangelist and kind of this spiritual quality, this kind of angelic quality. And
with a little bit of showbiz thrown in as well.
A little bit of showbiz, because we are a musical theater after all.
Well, and she was a very theatrical persona.
Right. And so, that worked pretty well for us for those first couple of iterations, but then we decided that we needed to do a little more jazz hands, so we came up with this version.
So this was a little more of a lot more color and a little more pizzazz in it. But what were we feeling about that in terms of its success or non-success?
Well, we just felt like it wasn't telling enough of a story, and what we were finding was that as we were talking to people, it really took us about 2 minutes to actually explain Sister Aimee Semple McPherson and her career and what the show was going to be like. And once we told that to people, they got really excited. But this wasn't really, it looked pretty, but it wasn't telling enough of a story. So we really decided to go out of the box, and we came up with the next version, which is that one.
So this is, so give us a little idea. I'm going to hold this up there while you describe it, just so people can look at it.
So back in the day, actually the tabloid industry kind of got its start with Sister Aimee, and they used to follow her like people have recently followed Paris Hilton or any number of troubled celebrities. And there was a magazine back then called Confidential. So we leveraged the creative of the original Confidential magazines, and we were trying to kind of tell the story about Sister Aimee, all of the different little things, the kidnapping and her secret lover in Monterey and all of those different things, and give it that feel. Now, you may be surprised to hear this, but this was rather controversial for us to have an ad that would look like this for musical theater. And as we continued to look at it, we felt like it was focusing on aspects of the show that weren't as representative of what the show was finally going to look like.
Well, also, although it was telling the story very effectively, more effectively than anything we had before, it didn't convey the sense of this big musical and of sort of an epic story and this great woman, whether flawed though she may be, she's still this great woman, and it seemed a little reductive in a way.
Yeah, and we are about kind of jazz hands, big smiles. It's a musical theater, and so we came up with the last version, which is this version. And this is actually Carol Lee Carmelo. We executed a photo shoot with Carol Lee, and of course she looks absolutely beautiful in that costume from the show. And then the building behind her is Angelus Temple, which is the church that Aimee Semple McPherson built. And then you can see the photographers behind her, and then the people down in front kind of worshiping. We felt like this really got at the flavor of the show, the excitement. Of course, she's singing, which helps us communicate that it's a musical and not a straight play. And we've had very good response to this. People have really enjoyed seeing this image, and it's been great for both our print and our TV campaigns.
And I think that it conveys that elusive thing we were trying to do. I often say the show sort of Evita meets Dreamgirls. And I think this sort of gives us that without saying too literally it's either one of those. But it gives us that sense.
Right. It puts us in that general range of this is the type of musical this is, which is really important for buyers of a first-time musical.
And, on a Broadway show, they would spend probably close to $1 million just developing the campaign for this and have multiple times and multiple ad agencies sometimes developing materials. We have to do that all in-house, and with a brand new show like this, or even a revival where we're trying to put a distinctive spin on it, our own in-house marketing and communications team takes this all on, and I think does a pretty amazing job for a non-profit theater company. I think we've got we end up with materials that I think any Broadway agency would be really happy with.
Absolutely. I'm super happy with this campaign, and I hope that you'll all come out and see the show and see how spectacular it is.
That's the Musical Theater Factory for today. Thanks so much. See you next time.